That's not our questions to answer. Good morning, guys, and welcome to our Q&A session for intermediate learners. We're glad you have joined us today. We are just going to remind you of the course being self-paced and that the coursework is due to be finished or completed by August the 15th, which is next week. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and open up for any questions that you might have. If you will please write those in the chat. We'll try between Cole, Lisa, and I to actually answer those questions. Do want to make sure that we remind you that some sessions are being offered for the fall. You should have received an email from Dr. Darlene Cummings. The teacher or the Canvas orientation for teachers is actually a combination of all three courses. So if you missed one of the other courses, you technically can take that course and go to the section that you actually missed, because we did keep the certificate as well as the badge in each course separately, even though we combined them together. So we'll get started with some questions. The attendance link is inside of the chat area. Lisa has posted that for today's meet. Make sure you complete the attendance form so that we have documentation. Mr. Chambers, in order to get an answer to your question, we would probably need to masquerade your account and take a look at what you have inside of your course itself, because I'm not really understanding the question with not going inside and seeing your actual course. So we'll email you here in a few minutes. There's a question about Power Teacher K2 and Power Teacher gradebook for grades 3-12. The pre-K2 or the K2 Power Teacher for gradebook, it should or is actually required for those teachers because it is new to our district. As far as the grades 3-12, you are welcome to sign up, because inside of there will be updates and the process on how to actually set up your grade book accurately, since we're not going to be able to go out to school sites. If you do teach both sets, I would suggest that you do sign up. If you are a resource teacher, definitely sign up for the K2, because like I said, it is actually new to everybody who has those different grade levels.
Ms. Meekins, I'm going to go ahead and address the Bitmojis and embedding and other features in Canva. Right now, there is a curriculum and policy meeting that is happening tonight, and the Bitmoji virtual classrooms are under review with the digital teaching and learning team. We will have further information as of next week of whether or not that will be available. We have things to consider, such as ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act that we're reviewing, to make sure that it's equitable for all pre-K through 12 students. So for right now, I'd really highly suggest focusing on content and building your classroom and going back later on to make it look fluffy and fun for our students in a little bit, because right now the concern is for students and parents to really be able to dig in and understand digital learning. So just stay tuned. I know we will have most of you in fast track training next week, and we can handle that conversation at that time.
And to just piggyback on Lisa about the part, have you all tried it out? Yes, I actually knew of it way before it's become to existence in the summer. However, our main concern is making sure that all of our teachers have the basics first and then transition into, the frou-frou stuff, as in the Bitmoji, and pushing that out, because that can come later. One of the other things we've got to keep in mind as we create these, yes, they are beautiful, and yes, my first degree is in K-6 elementary education because that's where I came from. So I do love colors and, all the elementary stuff that looks really pretty on the screens and inviting to the students, but we have to take into consideration our parents and being able to find and locate those things inside of all of the links that are hidden, as well as take into consideration that if I have a student that has multiple teachers, then if it doesn't look similar, a student's going to have to learn all that over again, where to find all this stuff. And that's just very stressful during this time. So we're trying to look at all considerations when, thinking about whether to use Bitmojis or not.
Okay, so moving forward, this is Q&A for our intermediate course. So let's highlight those 5 bullet points that were covered in the module. So are there any questions working with editing the homepage and linking buttons? All right, next module. Is there any questions about creating a sequence of modules using the instructional pacing guides? Now keep in mind, pacing guide information and training is happening next week through Fast Track, so that will be really good. But is there any questions about creating a sequence of modules?
I need to come back to that question right there. I think there's orientation.
Okay, hold on a minute.
He thinks it's there's not going to be.
Questions about building a Canvas manual quiz with multiple attempts?
In order to search Miss Tammy for Schoolnet, you actually have to build that in Schoolnet. Are you saying that you are looking for the item banks in Schoolnet? Because the assessment has to come from there. The item bank that's inside of Canvas technically is a blank area that you have to fill up. I hope that makes sense. You have to use the link inside of Schoolnet to push into Canvas.
So Jennifer Sayer had a good question about the first module that gets pushed in using the PSRC template. That first module is really just giving you ideas and showing you what the different pages look like. You are more than welcome to delete that module completely out. You are more than welcome to edit the assignments that are in there if you choose to keep it.
We mostly delete module one with all the demo stuff inside of it, Sarah, and then go and add modules. Because you technically, if you're still teaching third grade, you would technically maybe want to set your modules up not maybe by number, but by theme or by week instead of saying number one, number two. So that's totally up to you.
Are there any questions on using an external tool with YouTube and Schoolnet? I know we answered a little bit with Ms. Wilkerson, but just wanted to put that out there since it's one of our bulleted modules. And then lastly is exploring the student view and what students see. The exploring the student view is really, really important because as you're building different modules, different assignments, using that button can really show what a student can see and not see.
Miss Tammy, you can't pull it from the actual item bank inside of Canvas. You create the assessment in Schoolnet and then you go to external tool, which is one of the modules, and you pull it in by that way using the link provided in Schoolnet. Now you could possibly create those questions in or similar questions in your item bank inside of Canvas if you preferred. That's an option.
Ms. Meekins, if you build an assignment first, then you'll have that text editor area to have questions or article links, etc. shifted there. However, just keep in mind, if you want them to watch the video and then afterwards answer those questions, you may want them as two different assignments, meaning put an assignment with the YouTube video as the external tool with directions on watch the video, and then create a second assignment for the questions relating to the YouTube video, just so that you're giving small chunks of information for the students to complete.
Mr. Samuel, the question about orientation course, to be able to skip those parts of orientation, technically, if you've done beginner and intermediate and you just want to do the advanced, you can technically do that section in that course. Now, understand, these courses that are signed up for the fall have technically no orientation, no Q&A sessions. So you guys got the benefit of having an orientation session before and a Q&A after. Because of us having to transition into the beginning of school and other things, technically those people who signed up, when it says independent, they are technically on their own with going through the course itself. I hope that makes sense. But to help those people who had done beginner and intermediate, we decided to just keep the certificates underneath each one separately, so those people who needed to do advanced would not have to go back through beginner and intermediate to get to advanced.
Are there any other questions in regards to the intermediate coursework and modules for this course?
Technically, to get your certificate, it is set up to push out immediately after you click submit. So if you have not received that, then you probably should go back into the course and make sure under each assignment area that you do not have a blue button in the upper right-hand corner that says submit. Everything should say resubmit. It's not going to push out your certificate of completion until everything has been completed.
Don't forget to fill out your attendance for today. It is sitting in the chat. I just placed it there. Remember that if in fact you need to review what we covered today in our session, it will be available for you in the announcements area under the Q&A Google Meet for today. And if there are not any other questions, we hope you have a great rest of the weekend and look forward to seeing some of you next week during Fast Track training. Remember, your coursework is finishing up on August 15th.